Hello, everyone. Welcome to Development Palates. I am Aaron Loomis. With me today is Jiunn and John McTavish. How you guys doing?
Great.
Good man, excited for the last Shelter and Herf, or maybe not the last Shelter and Herf
Maybe not.
place, Herf. And then I get to smoke, so that'll be
Yeah.
nice.
So today we are talking about the Diamond Crown Maximus Toro number 4. Cigar is a traditional Toro, 6-inch by 50 ring gauge. Comes out of the Tabacalera A Fuente factory in the Dominican Republic. Wrapper is Ecuadorian El Bajau sun-grown. Binder and filler both from Dominican Republic. Price point is $14.75, and this cigar was originally released in 2005. So with all that out of the way, June, what was your overall experience like?
My overall experience average, but it was a pleasant first third and a terrible burn performance. Within the first third, I like the cigar. It was I got some good minerality to it, some good toasted qualities, and like a toasted bread, toasted wood. It was creamy, sweet, but from the second third and onwards, I got this wood bitterness that came through. It charred up pretty good, and that just never let up. And as a matter of fact, it kind of increased as it went on. Um, to that extent, I feel like it was kind of average overall. I did have quite a bit of burn issues, multiple touch-ups, relight. I basically had the lighter in my hand the whole freaking time, trying to kind of get this thing back on track to burn. So that might have uh, kind of caused some of these like flavor notes that I had, but it is what it is, and which is I'm honestly disappointed because I've had this cigar back in the day when I first started smoking cigars in like maybe 2010 or so. And I was very fond of it, but this particular review sample, fast forward to 2020, a bit disappointed.
All right, John, what were your overall thoughts?
Well, June, I didn't have the construction issues that you did, but I can tell you I was laughing because as you were describing your each of your thirds, I was like, well, I'll just let June do the review for me because like you described it exactly. It's got that sweet woody open, creamy breadiness, some graham cracker in the first third. But for me, I found the overall experience to be average because while those flavors were present or pleasant, I should say, they just didn't. I don't know how to describe it. It's like listening to a really nice instrument, but it's not playing music. And so the flavors just never came together to pique my interest. Like it was pleasant. So to me, that's average, but it didn't rise above that average for me. And as you say, in the second third, some tannin, some bitterness with the cedar came through along with some dryness, and that just continued to kind of ramp up. And then in the last third, there was some earth and tannic cedar. So it wasn't, again, it wasn't unpleasant. It just, I almost feel like this is a blend from like 10 or 15 years ago. And when you compare it to some of the stuff that's coming out in the last 8 to 10 years, it just hasn't kept up. So, it's a pleasant experience, but it just doesn't stand above the rest of the crowd anymore for me. Burning construction were very good overall. What about your experience, Aaron?
Yeah, I thought the cigar had a very elegant and silky kind of smoky experience. It was an enjoyable one for me. Um, the final third saw a bit of a drop as some char kind of came in and played a bit more of a role in the profile than I would have liked. But long-standing blend, as we've talked about, maybe consistency isn't as good as it was in the past. But thought that this kind of still matched up with some of the experience I've had with it previously. Price point's a bit high, close to that $15 mark, but if, I think it's still a good like late evening after a nice dinner kind of cigar. It's I think it still kind of projects that I'm not sure what the right word is, more, I guess, elegant, like I said before, but more of a luxurious type of experience. So, unfortunate that the two of you didn't have the same experience, but it. I would come back to this on occasion. Price point's a little high, so it's not going to be something that I would smoke frequently, but definitely, after dinner, maybe early fall, late spring, with nice weather out and outside. I think it'd be a good fit. So let's get into scores. I was the high scorer at 6.57. John was next at 5.50, and then Jiunn gave it a 5.45. So my score matches up with the experience. It was a good flavor profile. Had really good construction, not perfect. But overall, I thought it was good. So that's what gets into the mid sixes. John, how about 5.50?
Yeah, man, you can romance it all you want, but that was just a very average flavor experience. Which again, average is not bad.
Yeah.
It just doesn't mean that it stands above the crowd. The reason that it's scored a little bit higher, I think, than Jiunn is obviously because my construction and burn were near perfect. Jiunn?
Yeah, it's an average cigar through and through for me. It's good to know that even without burn issues, you had a very similar experience as I did. Or no, not similar flavor experience, but a mediocre experience, flavor experience like I did.
And the flavor notes were very, very close, like almost identical. So,
it, yeah, you bring up a good point, John. When good point to kind of think about, at least when you're talking about, perhaps this is a blend that has not kept up with time. That's interesting. I mean, definitely when I first started smoking this back in the day, my earlier days of cigars, is not how my palate was not developed enough until now. I certainly didn't know enough about cigars. Now I would say I'm not the average consumer cigars. I know a lot about it than the average consumer. So I really like up myself in that sense. But still, like, man, I think about stuff like Padron, right? Padron's still fucking good, right? Padron was great in 2012. Padron is great in 2020, right? So I think maybe, and I love lighter cigars too. So I don't know. I think those are just not for me anymore.
well, Aaron loved it. So, I feel like obviously there's a lot of people out there that probably will feel the same. So there you go.
There you go. All right, if you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. Also, check out the full written review on the website, developingpalates.com. Follow us on all the social media channels, and you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts. So iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you on the next one.